Hi everybody, this is Ellen. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a minion. I think he's super cute. Let's see, band wise it was 262 yellow, 220 blue, 98 black, and 28 gray. So it is a bit band heavy, but to get the detail and to kind of be as adorable, that's what it had to be. The eyes, you have a couple different options. These ones I just tuck some googly eyes into the goggles, or these come out and then I still have the come out. I still have beads. They're white beads with black dots on them, or we can do white bands with, then you can just draw black dots on them later. So I got a couple different options for how you want to do the eyes, but we'll get started because this is going to take a while, I think, with everything that we need to put together. So for the eyes, like I said, you can put the googly eyes in the goggles later, or I'm going to use white band. I'm going to put these in there too, just so that if I don't want to use these, and to show you where they go. And then you can just use a Sharpie and color the little black dot on them later, which I'll do. Or if you don't have beads or the googly eyes, you would just take 2 white bands, put them on your hook, wrap them around to a figure 8, and then you grab all 4 bands, wrap them around again, and then pull them through 2 yellow bands. So you'd want 2 of these, and then later you can draw on there with the black Sharpie the black dot if you want. Or you could try squeezing a little black band in there too, but I think the Sharpie's a little easier. So eyes, that's what those are. And then we have the arms to make ahead of time and the little shoulder straps on the overalls. So these are what they look like. Start with the hand first. So it's 1 black band on the hook, wrap it to a figure 8, grab both, double it, then take another band on the hook, double it, pull it through what's on your hook, back on. So that's 1 finger. We need to make 2 more. So on, double it again, pull through a doubled band, and 1 more, double it again, and 1 more doubled band, pull through. So it's just a little doubled cap band with another band pulled through, and you need 3 of them on your hook. Then you'll take 2 bands, put them on your hook, double them, and then pull your fingers onto it. Back on. You want to kind of try and center them on the 2 bands we just pulled through. Like that. And then you're going to pull through 10 doubled bands that are yellow. So double it on the hook and pull it through. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So once you have that, then you'll pull through 2 yellow bands normally, like that. So that'll be your arm. So you'll need to make another arm, so you want to pause the video and do that. And then we have the overalls, and I start with this little cap band here in the bottom, which will be I made it black because that's the little black button on there, but you could make it blue too if you want. But be one band, double it again, then pull through 12 doubled bands that are blue. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So the little black cap band, and then 12 blue bands doubled pulled through. Then you'll pull through 2 blue bands normal, like that. And then you go back to the other end where you have the cap band, go in through there, make sure you get into the center of the whole thing, and pull through 2 blue bands normal. So like that. And then once again, you'll want to pause your video so that you have 2 straps ready to go. And then next will be the goggles. So for the glasses, it's all single banded. So we take 1 band, put on the hook to the figure 8, double it. Then we're going to pull through 11 doubled bands. So double it on the end and pull it through. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 11. Like that. So what you'll do is you'll come back around. Don't twist it, but just come back around, find that first cap band. Make sure it's as kind of flat as possible. And then pull through 1 doubled band that is gray, like that. And then we want to pull through 11 doubled black bands. So double it, pull it through. So that's 1, need 10 more. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then what you want to do is just pull through 2 bands. That'll be kind of holder bands for now. Or a band, but 2 bands will hold it better. So like that, that's one side. And we need to repeat that. And for some reason I was thinking I can't do that ahead of time, but I certainly could have, so I'm going to do that right now and then probably fast forward through it. So again, it's doubled band in gray, pulling through 11. So that's 1 with 10 more to go. Okay, so that's 11, cap band plus 11, and you want to bring it around again through the cap band, making sure not to twist it. Pull through 1 more doubled gray band. And then once again pull through the 11 black bands that are doubled. So that's 1. Alright, so that's 11. And again, pull through 2 bands to just kind of hold it there. So we have our 2 halves to our goggles. So what we want to do is connect these. So it doesn't really matter, they're both the same as far as front and back. But what I'm going to do is on my right one here, you have your band that goes through the last gray one that we pulled through. I'm going to count over 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to put my hook in that. And I'll do the same thing on this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like that. And then for this lower one, I'm just going to take a gray band, pull it through, and make it into a slip knot. And then this band will just kind of hang loose for now. Like, you want to get it tight but not too tight because you want the front to go together fairly well. And then we're going to go into the bands right above where we put the slip knot in. So the next little V up. Then I would take a gray band, double it on my hook, pull it through, back on, try and center it, and then pull through 2 yellow bands. Like that. So this one I'm just going to leave hang loose for now, the little gray that we attached with, and then we have the yellow that goes through that one above. Don't worry if they're out of shape right now because you're going to have to adjust it after you get done anyways, because we're going to be swishing down the loom and stuff like that, so don't worry about that a whole lot. So that is our goggles for now. So you should have all these pieces ready to go. The eyes, if you made them with the bands, you want those ready to go as well. And then I'll put my bands through my beads when I get there, just because they're easy to do. So I think we're ready, I hope. We'll need the loom, and we want the wrong end towards us, and we'll start somewhere in the middle, so right around the 7th pin up, right here, and we're going to make a starburst with yellow bands. I realized I just forgot his hair. I'll have to fix that. So from this middle pin, we're going to go to the 6 pins around with 2 bands of yellow. Now say everything is double banded, so if I say band, I still need 2 bands, unless I specifically say differently. So starburst. Now on the center pin, you want a cap band. It'd be 2 bands wrapped around 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we'll go in with our hook. You'll grab the top 2 bands wherever they are, pull them up through that cap band and back towards themselves. And you'll do that all the way around. Like that. Then we're going to do a row around the outside, same 2 bands. At the end of the video, I will show you the first minion that I made. It's much larger than this one, so like that. Then you want to flip the bottom 4 on all the pins. And I did not forget the hair on that one. Like that. Push the bands down. So now we're going to increase everything. So for starting on the right side, this top pin, I can pick up the top 2 bands and bring them up a pin. And there's no crossing right here. For this lower pin, if I was to do the same thing with the 2 bands and pull them down, they cross over each other. We don't want that, so if that happens, you need to take all 4 bands, bring them down a pin, and then bring the top 2 back. So there's no crossing on any of these spots. So we'll go to the other side. Over here on the lower left, I can just pick up the top 2, bring them down, and up here at the top, I have to bring all 4 up, and then bring the top 2 back. For our center ones, you can pick up the top 2 bands, see what side they're coming from. These are coming from the left side, so they're going to go to the left, and the other 2 will go to the right. Just stretch them way down there. And you can pull this over, sometimes that helps to reduce a little bit of the stretch. Then do the same thing on the top center. Grab the top 2, see where they're coming from, pull them to that same side. And then with the other, pull that over. So like that, we are now on 12 pins, 2 bands on every pin. So now we're going to do 3 rows all the way around with the 2 bands. I put the hair on afterwards, in case you're wondering. Tonight we went to the fair. It was pretty entertaining to watch the kiddos on the rides. I definitely know that when Grayson gets older, he will be my roller coaster riding buddy. He kept saying, "Go faster!" So that's our first row all the way around, and for this row you're going to be flipping the bottom 2 bands all the way around. Like that, push them down. And do our second row around. Same thing, 2 bands. But we rode the little mini roller coaster together, and he giggled and laughed, and he got all, I could feel him kind of get tense next to me as we went down the little slope that they have for their roller coaster, and he was loving it. And he also rode the ponies. My husband stood next to him for part of the time until he kept pushing him away, going, "Go away." Like that's our second row. This one you're going to be flipping the bottom 4 all the way around. It's like, "Go away, I got it, I can do it." So my husband's like, "Well, okay, I guess you can ride the little pony by yourself." And It's just those ones, those poor ponies that are hooked onto the little merry-go-round, and all these kids come and ride them. So like that. That was our second row. We got one more row to go. 2 bands. My daughter, well, they all fed the goats and the llamas and the camel, but my daughter she giggled like crazy every time they come and lick her hand, and she'd just kind of like hide her hand away and be like, nope, not giving you any more because you're licking me, and she'd giggle, and then she'd be like, give me more food to feed them. I'm like, you gotta actually give it to them, honey. Like that. Same thing, flip the bottom 4. But it's cute because she was petting them and playing with her little baby horns, and she did try poking one in the eye to go, I found an eye. I'm like, yeah, let's not hurt the little guys. It's bad enough they're probably already starved. Gonna flip everything towards the center, push down. So now we're going to do our eye row. So you want your eyes. I would still put on some sort of eye, even if you plan to do the googly eyes, just because that way you have them on in case you lose them or whatnot. So it's going to be 2 bands down here, then 2 bands, and then we'll want an eye. Next spot, we are going to put our goggles. So you want to make sure that the little gray tail that we have is hanging down low, and that the 2 yellow bands are on the top side. So take that, stretch it out, and that's going to go right in the next spot. And then another eye will go into the next one. Like that. And then 2 bands all the way around the rest. And my middle son, he was riding the yo-yo swings, which is just that big giant thing that spins you around while you're sitting in a swing, and he of course was wearing sandals, and they flew off and they like hit somebody. I'm hoping that it was not intentional that he let them fly off, but so like that, and then you'll flip the bottom 4 all the way around, because it's something that a kid would do, I guess. But it's like, yeah, you go on a ride again, you're taking your sandals off. They were nice and they understood. I guess you have to stay out of the drop zone. While we were standing there waiting for him and watching the shoes fly. When you get to where the goggles are, just kind of tuck them in towards the center, and then you can easily flip your bands. There was some spittle or something that came and landed on my husband's arm, and he's like, oh my god, I need it off now. What is this? Like that. So now we're going to do 2 rows all the way around with the 2 bands. It's like, oh honey, it's alright. It's just a little vomit from some kid. I'd probably freak out. It landed on his arm, so it wasn't horrible, but if it landed on his face, I'm sure it would have had quite an interesting reaction from him. I know I would have had one. So like that, roll all the way around, and you'll flip the bottom 4. So that's 1. We'll do our second row. 2 bands. when we were heading to the fair, there was this, I was like, I don't know if it's going to be packed or because it's early and the fair is just starting, or if there won't be too many people there. We turned the corner to kind of get on the right street, and we're like, oh my gosh. We were like, cars are backed up for like 7 blocks, which may not sound like a lot, but it is. So like that, and flip the bottom 4. It is for that area, I guess. So my husband's like, I'm going to board right now. We're not going to go. He's like, it'll take us an hour just to park. I'm like, no. It's all right. Just, you know, hang in there. It won't be so bad. We're moving. It did take us like half an hour to get in, but it wasn't so bad. So like that, and I'm going to pull up the center, kind of untuck it. So that's our 2 rows below the eyes. Push those down. So now we're going to add our mouth, just the 1 band. What we're going to do is it's going to, keep the goggles out of the way, we're going to stretch it from this pin all the way over to this pin over here. So it's going across 4 pins. So if I start over here on the left, stick my hook through those bands on that second pin down, grab that 1 band that's just normal, pull it up over the top of the pin, and then pull it down so it's wrapped around. And then we'll go to the next pin over, go through the bands, grab that band, pull it up over the top of the pin, then pull it down. Now it's wrapped around 2 pins. I'm just going to do that 2 more times. So through the bands, grab that band, pull it up over the top of the pin, pull it down, and 1 more time. Through the bands, and pull it up over the top of the pin, pull it down, and it should all be underneath and wrapped around those 4 pins in the front. And then we take it and we flip it over the top, so it tucks in behind the pins, like that. See, I told you we'd be pushing them all up. So push your bands down. Now we're going to again do 2 rows all the way around with the 2 bands. I myself enjoy the fair. I think it's fun to be out and to ride the rides and eat the food, the gloriously fattening food that always somehow tastes so much more delicious than anything else, most of the time. Of course, sadly, one of my favorite foods to eat at the fair is fried cauliflower, which a lot of people think is strange, but it's actually pretty delicious. And I can kind of, like that. Then you flip the bottom 4 all the way around. And I can kind of lie to myself and be like, well, it is cauliflower, so it's a little healthy, right? I mean, it doesn't matter that it's been dipped in batter and fried. And it tastes delicious with ranch dressing, so. That's one of my favorite fair foods, which is odd, I know, but it's delicious. So that's 1 row. Do our second row. Still 2 bands all the way around. And of course, cheese curds are delicious too. I am in Wisconsin, so we're in the cheese state. Like that, put the bottom 4. And push your bands down. So what we want to do is puff the back middle 4 and the front middle 4 bands with our blue. And we do that by, so starting on the second pin down here on the, what's going to be the back side, I take my hook, go through the bands that are on that pin, pull through 2 blue bands, put both bands back on my hook, pull the yellow ones off the pin, and then the blue ones are going to go back on. So that's what I mean by puffing. And we're going to do that on the next 3 pins down on this side. So through the yellow, hook the blue, back onto our hook, pull the yellow off the pin, and then put the blue back on. So 4 on the back side, and then you'll do the same 4 on the front side. The same way. Sorry, the glasses are going to be in the way. Alright, so front middle 4 and back middle 4 are puffed. So now we are going to add our arms for this row. So you want those. So we're going to put an arm right here on the end, like that. And I usually pull it up and kind of tuck it behind that pin. So it should kind of point up as we go. So it's out of the way a little bit. This next band that we need to put on is going to be a transition band. So that is where you take 2 bands, put them on top of each other. And for this, I could do it on the loom as well. I'll show you that in a second. But I'm going to go through the yellow band and grab that blue band from the front. And then I'm going to grab the yellow band from the back. And then you just kind of fold them together. So it kind of turns into a half and half band. Like that, and that's going to go right here so that the blue half is towards the blue center and then the yellow is towards the arm right here. To make those on the loom, just take the 2 colors we need, put them on in any order. Then you go in through the band that's on the top, grab the bottom one, pull it back towards itself. Then you go in through that little triangle spot there, grab the other band and pull that back towards itself. And this is how you make another transition band. And you just carefully take it off the loom, and I'll do that when I get up to the next spot. But the next couple spots here are going to be 2 blue, so blue, blue, and then we need a transition band up here. So I'll grab this one. It's half and half. So that will go up here with the blue towards the blue and the yellow towards the outside. Next spot up here is going to be the other arm. Again, I'm just going to tuck that up there. And then we need another transition band. And blue. And another transition band. Like that. So the arms on, we have the transition bands in the front and the back. So now you're going to flip the bottom 4 all the way around. Hard to grab all those puffing bands sometimes. So like that. Push your bands down. Next row is going to be our strap row, so you'll want your straps handy. But we're going to start on the end here. It'll be 2 yellow, then a transition band. From yellow to blue. And then we want to put on one of our straps, and you want to put on the one that has the little black cap band here. If you did that, you'll put that right there. So the cap band side in the front. Then you'll have 2 bands that are blue. Then grab the other strap. That will go in the next spot, cap band towards the front. Then a transition band. Then yellow. Another transition. Then back here, we're going to have our strap. So you just want to take it from the front and just kind of have it come straight back to the back side and put on those 2 bands. Make sure you get to both of them. Like that. Then 2 bands. Then another strap. And again, just kind of pull it straight back from the front. Put those bands on. And then a transition band. Like that. So then we'll flip the bottom 4 all the way around. Like that. So what I'm going to do is utilize those straps and kind of tuck in some of my stuff that's hanging out. You don't have to, but try to make it a little easier to see everything. Tuck my arms in. There. Not quite as crazy now. So now we're just going to do a row all the way around, making sure to put the transition bands in where we hit the yellow. So 2 bands, yellow, transition band. So it's half and half. Blue across the front. And transition. Another transition. And blue. And lastly, another transition band. Like that. Then you'll flip the bottom 4. Tuck these in. Now what we're going to do is puff out the remaining yellow with blue. So we're actually done with the yellow now. I'm going to get rid of it. So with the 4 on the ends, we'll just puff those with the blue, like we did before in the center. Going through them, pulling up those 2 bands, and then putting those on the pins. You're supposed to stay tucked in there. Like that. So now we have blue on all the pins. And we're going to do 2 rows all the way around in the blue. So 2 bands. Now a lot of you guys have asked me to make the Minion. And I don't know if I would have necessarily, because it's not like, I think it's cute and adorable, and I think that, you know, they're kind of funny creatures, and I like the story behind the original Minions movie with Gru. But my kids really love it, and I think that's why I ended up making it. So like this, then you'll flip the bottom 4 all the way around. Because I'm more Hello Kitty, cuddly things, and I mean, I suppose these would be cuddly too, but my husband really likes this movie, or the movies with the Minions. That. So that's 1 row, another row all the way around. In fact, I believe at the drive-in this weekend near us, there is a Minion. I think it's a, I want to say it's a camp out, sleepover at the drive-in. So I'll have to see about that. I'm sure the children would love it. I sleep in the van with the air conditioning. Not that I can't get out there and camp with the rest of them, but I like that. Flip the bottom 4. But generally people just like bring their sleeping bags, then they camp out on the little like wood pallets that they have. And that's not comfortable. And as you get older, you get to, you know, sleep on comfortable things. Not that sleeping in a car is comfortable, but. Alright, so you want to push those down. So now we're going to reduce. We're going to reduce these 2 corners right here. So up here at this top corner, I'm going to first tuck this stuff over the pin. Then I'll grab the top two bands. I'll figure out which side they're coming from, and these are coming from over on the left, so they're going to come over to the right. Then the other two bands, they're going to go over to the opposite side. So we'll do the same thing down below, tuck those up. So then on this side over here, I'll grab the top two bands. They're coming from the left, so they're going to come over to the right. Then the other two will come to the left. So push those down. And we'll do a row all the way around. Two bands. I had to pause a couple times while filming, but I think this is actually going faster than I anticipated, which is good. Good for everybody. So like that. Then on the end pins, you're going to have the two reducing bands to go over, and then the bottom four. And then the middle ones will be the four bands to go over. And again, it's another corner, so we have the two reducing bands and then the bottom four. And it's the same on the other side. Two reducing, bottom four, and just four through the middle. Untuck those little bands. Pull it up a little. And you want to push your bands down. So now we're going to reduce again. So we're going to reduce these far away point corners, I guess, the corners. So I'm going to start up here. I'll grab the top two bands. They're coming from the left, so I'm going to pull them over to the right. Then the other two will come to the left. And down here, on the far corner, find the top two. And these are coming from the right, so they're going to go over to the left. And the other two are going to go to the right. So push those end ones down. Then we'll do a row all the way around with the two bands. Like that. Then again, the same thing, we're going to have the two reducing bands on the corners plus the bottom four to flip over, and then the four in the center pins. Then you want to pull that up carefully, untuck it from the pins on the end. Push the bands down. So now we're going to start the legs. And this is where it would come in handy if you had a long crochet hook like this, or even the latch hook will work. You just have to kind of be careful of not getting the latch stuck underneath. But we're actually going to take a hook, and you can still use a rainbow loom hook. It's just helpful if you have the other hook, and I'll show you with the rainbow loom so you know that it's possible. But we're going to go and bring up bands in between these two middle pins. So I just stuck my hook straight through, and the bands that I bring up first will be put onto these two pins there. These two pins right here. So I just put my hook through, take those two bands, pull them through, And one end is going to go on this pin over here, and the other end will go on this pin over here. So you can see the bands went underneath. This is possible with a rainbow loom hook, it's just that it's a little bit more squishy. We just take it, push it through, and if you kind of tilt it at the right angle, it helps to get them pulled through. But 2 bands, get them on the end of your hook, pull them tight, and pull it through, and you put one end on each end, or one pin on each side. So then I've pulled up another set underneath. And you can see with my hook, that's where one is, and that's where the other is. Push those down again. So now each leg is underneath and then around the outside pins. So we'll do 2 bands around the outside. Like that. So that one leg is done because we pulled up the center on this side. And we do the same thing on the other side. We pulled up the center already, and then we want to do the 2 bands around this leg. Like that. So then you just go onto every pin and you'll flip the bottom 4. It's easy on the corners to see the bottom 4, but when you get to the center, sometimes the band that you pull from underneath, sometimes it likes to kind of hang down over the actual bottom 4. So make sure that you get the right 4 when you flip this over. Just flip the bottom 4 in every pin. Like that. Give it a little tug up, push them down, and we'll do that same thing one more time with the full color bands. So pull through the 2 bands that go from the 2 middle pins from one side to the other side. So pull it under and over, and it looks like I lost a band. We're good. I always just do the other side right away, just because it's easier. Because you're already there, poking at it. Like that. And do around the outside of each leg with the 2 bands. Same as before. Then we'll flip the bottom 4 all the way around. Again, pull it up a little bit. And push the bands down. So now what we're going to do is we're going to transition from the blue to the black. So that means we do need to pull up. We're going to make the transition bands again. But this time, I'll show you up here, make that transition band, and this time we're going to put them on. In my case, the blue comes in towards the leg and the black will be around the outside. Now that means that we do need to pull up a transition band underneath. If you have a really hard time with doing it, just pull up 2 black bands. It's not going to be that noticeable that it's different. But around the outside of the leg, definitely make those transition bands. Put the blue towards the inside and the black towards the outside. So we're not doing half and half this way, we're doing half and half this way. Black is out here, blue is in the center. So I'm going to put on the outside ones first, and then I'll do the middle ones. And we only have to do this once, so it's not too bad. Put it on the right way. Sorry, all this stuff is pokey. Alright, so I have the transition bands around the outside of both legs. So then on the inside, if you really can't get a transition band through, just pull through 2 black ones. Otherwise, make that transition band. You put it on your finger, put your hook through, grab your band, and pull it under. So I know some people have trouble getting the bands underneath there, and I know that now asking you to do a transition band underneath there would be kind of, you're like, crazy. So that's one. And we'll do it again. Transition band. Grab it. I think I lost part of it. I did. There we go. Need to turn it a little. Just getting the blue towards the center as best I can. So you should have black around the outside of all your pins and blue towards the center. And then you'll just flip the bottom 4 all the way around, which should be 4 blue bands. And when you flip these over, just kind of hang on to those transition bands. So we're getting at the point where it like kind of wants to pop up a little bit, just because we're right at the end with getting everything on there. So now you should have what looks like 4 black bands on all your pins. You might have a little bleed over of the blue into the black. That's not a big deal. Push those down. Then we're going to do a row. We're done with the blue. I'm going to do a row around, and this is going to be 2 bands right here. For the front 2 spots, we're going to make little wrap band parts for his toes right there. So 1 band on the hook, wrap it around once to the figure 8, grab it, wrap it around again. Then you'll do that same thing over again. Wrap it to figure 8, double it, and then pull through 2 bands. So you just have 2 wrapped bands on 2 normal bands. That's going to go in the front right there. And it's 2 bands underneath, 2 black bands. And then 2 black bands on the back side. Then you repeat that for the other foot. So you want to do the wrap band part first. 2 wrapped bands. 2 normal bands pulled through. And those will go on the front. And then all the other spots for this leg, or foot now, are just 2 bands. Sorry, pull that one underneath. So it should look like this now. Then you'll flip the bottom 4. We're so close. Like that. Pull them up. Push your bands down. And now we're going to do one more row all the way around with the black bands. So just 2 bands all the way around. I feel like I'm beating this minion up as much as I'm pushing him around. Sorry, guy. Should be a lot easier to get bands up through the center too, because he's taller. But just do the 2 bands all the way around each leg. Like that. Flip the bottom 4. It looks like that now. So now we are ready to take them off the loom. So I'm just going to start right here. Take my hook, go in through all the bands on one leg. Kind of stay close to my loom. And then pull through 2 bands, 2 black bands, through everything. Back on, do the slip knot. Then I'll do the same thing on the other leg. Get them all on. Pull through 2 bands. So it should look like this now. So for the bottom here, I'm going to go in through the back side. Come down the leg, grab, come out kind of right next to my slip knot, grab my tail band, and pull it down through. Try not to snag everything else. And you kind of flatten out the bottom portion of the foot as you're doing that. Then let go. Well, they may or may not hide inside. You have to kind of tuck them back in. And then on each foot, if you look, we have the double wrap bands right here. There are these bands right here underneath. I took those and I pulled them. What am I going to do with my hook? I grabbed them. I took those double wrap bands and I tucked them down in and pulled them out underneath that band. I'll show you here. So it looks more like a pointy foot. Actual foot without too much trouble. So you can see the difference of what it looks like. So go doing the other side. Up through the back. Come out next to the slip knot. Pull it down in. Lose it too early. Nope. flatten it. And then once again, grab that band that's right below those double wrap bands, and you want to pull those through. Of course, I don't want to distort them by just pulling on one of them. I grabbed a hold of one of the bands and pulled on it and kind of goobered it. Pull it through. So it should look like that. So now he's got little feet. Doo -doo -doo. Alright, so now I'll tuck his arms back in here where they belong, inside of his overalls. For the goggles, you may or may not have to get in there with your hook to kind of readjust things. One moment here. I'm actually going to fix his arms first. Their arms always kind of hang down kind of by their sides when they're not doing much of anything. But right now it's kind of like out. Like, hey, what's up? So I'm just going to go into that very top doubled band and just kind of slide it out towards me. And that will help put the arm down. And I might have to go back in and kind of readjust down the arm, just kind of changing the position as I go to get the arm to stay down where I want it to. To the other side. Looks like he wants to shake hands. I'll have to adjust that one too. We'll give him a little squeeze, give him a little squish. Like that. And like I said, with the goggles, what I do is first I'll take that, going through the back side, grab that tail band, pull it through, and just secure it inside. So then, with the goggles, bring it around the back. I did not close these because if you're using different bands, they might not quite fit together. So you want to make sure that they're a good size for your guy and that his eyes are fairly centered. Some of that, like my goggles aren't really round right now, so that's some of the issue, but just bring them around to the back, make sure they don't get twisted. And what I'm going to do is take my hook. I'm going to go back through those two holding bands on one side, pull them out. Then I'll grab the holding band from the other side, hang on to the other end, pull it through, try not to lose it. Wrap it around, so I have a slip knot, make that slip knot, pull tight, and then I'll leave that alone for a moment. Adjust my goggles. Like this one's kind of squished, so a lot of it is like right here on the corner. Just need to readjust how those bands are. So that looks better already. Just kind of go through there, grab that last gray band we put in, and just pull it tight towards the center. So now we have little goggles. Gotta make them smiley. A little too smiley. Like that. Then you can either weave the tail bands into the goggle strap, or I'm just going to go in through the front, come out kind of where I want it to be positioned in the back, and just pull those straps through. Make sure they go back inside. Go away. So that'll secure them on there. As far as the hair, just find the center, grab some bands, take 1 or 2 bands, pull them up through, both on the hook, make the slip knot. You just kind of do that right around the center area with as many as you want. And there's different ways you could put these in as well to get a little bit different look. Kind of like that. I'll use one more. Get them all up there, right in the center. Take scissors and cut. Then Sharpie. Just kind of hold the goggles aside and just start going around. I actually seemed like I made the pupil a lot bigger and it looked better. But that's kind of your preference. This eye still, my goggle on that side still needs a little work. I like that. Let me just squish you. I was really trying not to do that. And it helps if you don't play with it right away so that you don't get marker where you don't want it to be. So I'll have to clean them. Like that. And once it's dry, you can grab the eyeball itself if you don't plan to put the googly eyes in and pull it forward. That looked really awful. Pull it forward so that it's kind of more prominent in the goggle itself. And you have to adjust it so that it's not all crooked and kind of scary looking. But kind of like that. Okay. He's looking up at you. So like that. Super adorable. The goggles, I just kind of, or the goggles, the googly eyes, all I did was take them and just kind of wedge them into the circle of the goggles. And I mean, you could glue them in there if you wanted to. It's kind of up to you. I need to figure. There, that's better. I'm sorry, I messed up your eye. So like that. Hopefully you love this as much as I do. I'm pretty proud of how they turned out. It isn't always easy, and like I said, sometimes I kind of go one direction, and then when I get done, I'm like, people are not going to be happy with that because that is super band heavy, or it was just a lot of work. Like my original Minion that I made was this one. So they are quite different, I think, in how they turned out, as far as different eyes and kind of just different appearance. But I decided to go with the smaller one for you guys first. Possibly I'll put up the tutorial for the larger one. I think it turned out adorable too. So, but they both, I'm always thinking of you guys, and I know that you sometimes have a hard time getting bands, but so I just try to make them a little bit tinier for you. Oh, I'm so sorry about your eye. Oh, all right. So I need to make the pupils bigger on this one too. But I hope that you guys, this went all right for you, that it was easy for you. It took a little while, I know, but it's always worth it, I hope, for you in the end when you get done doing my tutorials. If you make these guys, you definitely have to share them with me. on my Instagram, which is at Crafting Fantastic, or on my Facebook, which is feelinspiffy. Don't forget to subscribe and like the videos, because then I know what you guys are enjoying and what you're not. That way I can kind of try and make things more that way in the future. But definitely thank you guys so much. I will have more for you soon. Hope you love the Minions. Happy looming.